with President Trump sending illegal immigrants to Guantanamo Bay, should we here be considering something similar to the old Rwanda scheme to stop the boats? Now, to recap, Donald Trump has just announced, literally in the last few minutes, that he's going to sign an executive order which will see a detention facility set up at Guantanamo Bay for 30,000 illegal migrants to be housed while they're waiting to be deported. Ella.
Well, I mean, in the abstract, any government having the ability to detain and deport is necessary, and obviously there was big support for that abstract idea, not necessarily the Rwanda scheme, because the Rwanda scheme was tokenistic, I think cruel and probably morally dubious, but also unworkable. As we said, Mark's shaking his head, I'm going to ignore it. It was unworkable. But in the abstract, it's something that people think a functioning immigration system should be able to deploy. Obviously, the problem with Trump and Guantanamo Bay is that we know that the treatment of people in Guantanamo Bay is abhorrent and inhuman. I mean, I feel always a tick that I have to remind people that Trump is not, he gets portrayed as this unholy monster who is particularly and uniquely evil to immigrants or terror suspects or whatever. And, 2012, Obama personally signed the National Defense Authorization Act, which basically was an act saying that they could detain people without trial indefinitely for however long they wanted to. Again, infamously, Obama was, had the highest level of deportations, brought in fingerprint screening for local police officers, turning them into immigration officers. So there's been... Trump is not unique in his approach. He might be bombastic and brash in his rhetoric around this, but America has had a very big problem with how it deals with immigration for quite some time. This isn't necessarily the aberration I think lots of people think it is.
Paul? I think, first thing to say is I've been in a migrant detention centre in America. It was a jail in Phoenix, Arizona.
What had you done?
Well, no, I had joined Newsnight as a correspondent, and so they let me in.
And they sent you there.
The American jail system is very open to the media, unlike we can't even interview prisoners in this country, I think rightly. But the American jail system is like a shop window for here's what happens to you if you break the law. Now, none of these people had broken any other law other than the fact that they'd come illegally into America.
Which is a law that they broke.
Yes, but in the sense that they weren't also criminals. But it was a jail, and everyone was forced to live in a tent, wear pink underwear, and... all the food was out past its sell-by date, and it was very draconian indeed. And it was, I don't know what the centigrade equivalent is, it was 114 Fahrenheit in the desert. The point is, that was under Bush, and I think probably 5, 6, 7 million people have come to the United States since then illegally. And so the point I'm making is they already have a very draconian regime, and it doesn't stop illegal migration. What's the illegal migration that's happening in America, unlike ours, I would argue, is largely economically driven. You get in your van, you cross the border, you go and work in the San Bernardino Valley in California. That's been denuded of workers, by the way, since Trump came in, since these raids started. So it's for America. The two are unlike, but the questioner asked, should we do something like this? My argument would be, it doesn't stop the migration, no matter how draconian you make it.
Okay, Mark?
Well, I think the principle of having a deterrent is very sensible. I mean, the Rwanda scheme that we had was not intended to send huge numbers of people. What it was supposed to do was send a very clear message to people that if you come to the country illegally, you're not going to stay. And then you hope that then drives down the numbers of people coming. That was the plan. Never got a chance to use it, obviously, because of the election. Labour then scrapped it, but didn't put in place any other form of deterrent. All they said they're going to do is speed up decision-making, which is actually going to allow more people to stay, and it'll incentivise more people to cross the channel, which I think is a terrible thing to do. And Paul, they are largely economic migrants because all of those people crossing the channel are all coming from a safe country where they could claim asylum, and they choose to come to Britain. So they're not fleeing persecution at all because they're in France, right? And they've come through a whole bunch of other European countries. So that's not a very sensible argument. But we've got to have a system where you benefit people that do the right thing. So people come here legally as migrants and get really annoyed by people that break the rules. And people who come here illegally they are criminals. They have broken the criminal law because coming to Britain when you don't have the right to be here is against the law.
How many of them have
Overstaying a
been
visa
charged with
is
that
against the law.
How many of them were charged with that offence under your government?
We don't do that and prosecute them because because what we don't want to do is keep them in prison for longer. What we want to do is deport them back to the country that they came from, particularly criminals. One of the things I did when I was Immigration Minister, we passed legislation to toughen up the law so that if you were a criminal sent to prison for more than 4 years, the default was that you were deported. And I think that's right. People want to be generous to people that come here legally, who are going to contribute to the country, pay more tax than they consume and make us all richer. They don't want people coming here who aren't going to do that and are going to come here and break the rules, and particularly people who come here and commit other serious crimes.
Sarah?
I think Mark's kind of got this the wrong way around, really. I mean, the problem we've had over the last few years is we've got this massive backlog of people who've come here and claimed asylum, but it has taken years in some cases. Some of them have been in my constituency and they've come to me as their MP. And I've been astonished to find that people have been here for 2-3 years waiting for a decision, and you go to the Home Office and, it's still, they can't guarantee to get back to you in 6 months. And these people have been stuck in hotels and, at enormous cost to the taxpayer. So I think that's been a huge problem. And we've really got to deal with that backlog. We've got to get through that all of those people who've made those applications. Because actually you can't say people are here illegally until you have established what their status is. Because for some people, those will be valid asylum applications. They will have the right to stay. And the quicker we can get their immigration status, sorted out, then the earlier, the sooner they can come and start working and start contributing to the economy and to their local communities, and that's better for everybody. So I think the absolutely most important thing is to get the backlog down, but also to make sure that we are dealing much more efficiently with some of the applications. And just to pick up on what Paul was saying there, they can't apply until they're here, so that's why they're coming. So if we had better options for people, if they think they've got a claim to apply from other countries, then they wouldn't be coming across on boats in quite such large numbers.
The numbers would be absolutely enormous, even bigger than they are now. And I don't think Britain cannot be the place where millions and millions of people around the world choose to come. We are one of the best countries in the world.
Are millions coming now? Is that?
No, but if you said anybody in the world could make an asylum claim
that. No one's saying
at a British embassy abroad, which is what you just said.
No, I didn't. I didn't.
You said people should be able to make claims from outside the United Kingdom.
What I'm saying is, for
which
people
means
who
you would
think
massively
they've got a claim,
increase the number.
People who think they've got a claim could make it from overseas, and they're not coming here then to make the claim and stuck in a hotel for 3 years and then being told they have to go back. That would be a much more pragmatic way to do it. Of course, I'm not saying that millions of people should apply, but even if they did, the point is they could have their application decided before they came here, and then it would be like, no, you're not welcome, you can't come.